Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our showing of the fourth selection, Jaws, 1975, in our current miniseries, Scintillating Movie Scores, directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss. The screenplay was adapted by Carl Gottlieb and Peter Benchley from Benchley's 1974 book, Jaws. The menacing, unforgettable music was composed by John Williams. The movie is set in the fictional town of Amity, what was actually filmed on Martha's Vineyard just 35 miles off Cape Cod. This location was selected because Spielberg wanted to film the movie at sea and needed a site deep enough for the mechanical shark and far enough from coastal development that his cameras would not pick up housing in the backdrop of his marine shots. Jaws had an estimated budget of $3.5 million and a shooting schedule of 55 days. But came in severely over budget and past schedule due to delays, including problems with the mechanical shark. Many writers had their hands on the script, but only two received credit, Benchley and Gottlieb. Howard Sackler and Robert Shaw wrote much of Quint's USS Indianapolis monologue. The movie was released with heavy marketing that emphasized TV spots and tie-in merchandise and became the prototypical summer blockbuster. Jaws won many awards, including 3 Oscars, for Best Film Editing, Best Original Dramatic Score, and Best Sound, and helped to establish the modern Hollywood business model, pursuing high box office returns from action-adventure films released during the summer and heavily advertised. The critics treated Jaws well. Roger Ebert gave the film 4 stars and said that Jaws was essentially effective action picture, a scary thriller that works because it's populated with characters that have been developed into human beings. Pauline Kael, writing in The New Yorker, said that Jaws was the most cheerfully perverse, scary movie ever made. This was the first movie to reach the $100 million mark in TV rentals. Ron and Valerie Taylor, highly respected Australian shark experts, were hired to oversee the underwater filming of live great white sharks. But the Taylor sharks were a mere 14 feet long, and Jaws in the story is 26 feet long. So a mechanical shark had to be built. For the scenes in which the fisherman is seen underwater in the anti-shark cage as the shark attacks, they used both a small dummy and a live human, a little person, both outfitted with full diving gear. Robert Matty, who made the famous squid in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, was hired to build the shark. Actually, several models were made, one moving from left to right, one moving from right to left, a fin model, and a miniature. Despite all their efforts, the models didn't work all that well because of the effects of seawater. One even sank to the bottom of the ocean, causing serious delays in production. Each shark model cost about $250,000 to build. John Williams is considered to be one of the most influential composers in film, has had a long and distinguished career, winning 25 Grammys, 5 Oscars, 2 BAFTAs, and 4 Golden Globes for his music. He's written many scores for Spielberg's movies. His style is described as neo-romanticism, inspired by the late 19th century large-scale orchestral music of Tchaikovsky and Wagner, with their concept of a leitmotif, i.e., a distinctive theme for each character. The Jaws score contains an ominous 2-note ostinato, a continually repeated musical phrase or rhythm, now synonymous with sharks and approaching danger. It was performed by tuba player Tommy Johnson and contains echoes of Debussy's La Mer and Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. The audience is taught to associate the appearance of the shark with its iconic theme. This score won Williams his 2nd Oscar, but only his 1st for an original composition. With this film, we're going to try a little experiment. Jaws has many clips depicting the attacks by an extraordinarily large great white shark on unsuspecting swimmers. As you watch them, you may wonder how these shots were filmed. This is your chance to get an answer to that question. Tomorrow evening, Tuesday, October 25th at 7 p.m., Also on 1390, in a one-off event, we're going to show a 50-minute documentary titled The Making of Jaws, with interviews by all the principal cast and crew and wonderful footage of the process of creating the great white shark which terrorizes the characters in the movie. We hope that you will enjoy this little trial run. Plot summary. As July 4th weekend approaches, newly arrived Martin Brody, police chief of the small resort town called Amity, prepares for holiday crowds to descend upon his beaches. Since the town depends on tourism for its income, everything must be shipshape and ready for a slew of party-going beachgoers. Brody discovers the remains of a shark attack victim and closes the beaches in the public interest. This doesn't sit well with Amity's mayor and local businessmen. Brody backs down, but soon regrets his choice when a second lethal attack occurs. When a bounty is offered on the shark, he teams up with a marine biology and a local fisherman to hunt it down and save the summer season. Fun facts about the film. When Chrissy's remains are found at the beginning of the film, the fake arm didn't look real enough, so a female crew member was buried in the sand with only her arm visible. Most of the film was shot with handheld cameras. Many minor roles were played by Martha's Vineyard residents, who were paid $64 to run across the beach in the crowded beach scenes. Shaw based his performance on fellow cast member Craig Kingsbury, a local fisherman, farmer, and legendary eccentric, some of whose off-screen remarks actually appear in the film. No red color tones were used, so that blood would be the only red element on screen, making images of blood more shocking. The sharks were built at Rocky Harper's motion picture equipment rental in Sun Valley, California. Each model required 14 operators to move its parts. Filming at sea led to numerous delays. Unwanted sailboats drifted into the frame, the Orca sank with actors still on board, and the camera got soaked, though the film was salvageable. Actors were frequently seasick, and the live sharks were unreliable, forcing Spielberg to shoot many scenes, more than he had anticipated. In the end, a projected shooting schedule of 55 days topped out at 159 days. The 4th of July celebration was filmed on Main Street in Edgartown, and the Edgartown Town Hall needed only an Amity Town Hall sign to make it seem authentic. In early film trials, audiences were so shocked by the pop-up of the shark when Brody churns off the bow of the boat that their screams drowned out Roy Scheider's improvised line, "You're going to need a bigger boat." Spielberg added 35 feet of footage to give the audience time to recover and enjoy Brody's remark. Brody's dog in the movie was actually Spielberg's pet pup, Elmer. Quint's boathouse was built on Martha's Vineyard on an abandoned lot. The Edgartown City Council made the crew sign an agreement to demolish it after filming was completed. His boat, Orca, was a studio fabrication based on a boat purchased locally. When the special effects crew were finished with it, it was both top-heavy and unseaworthy. The lighthouse in the film was a real one on the island. Because of the billboard seen in this clip, it had to be moved later with special effects. Robert Shaw sang the song Spanish Ladies while leading the Orca for its shark expedition. It's a traditional British sea shanty, not a New England one. Shaw changed the lyrics to reflect a Boston setting. Things to look for. John Williams' ominous, menacing, award-winning score with his ostinato shark theme, the use of a little person and a small dummy to enhance realism in the underwater anti-shark cage, the ingenious mechanical shark models, the female crew member whose real arm sticks above the sand in the scene depicting the discovery of the first shark attack, no red used so that blood would be all the more shocking, Main Street, Edgartown, standing in for Main Street, Amity on July 4th, with several recognizable Martha's Vineyard buildings clearly visible. The Martha's Vineyard ferry depositing its passengers at Vineyard Haven. Spielberg's dog, Elmer, as Brody's dog. The Martha's Vineyard lighthouse, and Robert Shaw's monologue about the USS Indianapolis, which he wrote, and his rendition of the song, Spanish Ladies. Now it's time to view Jaws. Sit back, settle down. Please remember, it may take a few minutes for the film to roll. Enjoy, and we do hope you'll join us tomorrow night.